with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Flag of the United States of
America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Having just said that pledge, I think we as Americans really need to take heart the words that are in that pledge. And I don't think enough people say it. I think people should get up and repeat those words and really think what those words say and how business is being conducted in this modern day.
Ditto that, Commissioner Ward.
My comment. I'm very proud to say that my 2-year-old grandson, whatever, it's a daycare he goes to, they're reciting the Pledge of Allegiance in their daycare, and I find that very a good thing. All right, we open our county board meeting with public comment. We have 2 minutes per speaker to address the Winona County Board about any issue that they would like to. So please, anybody out there that would like to make public comment, please start by stating your name and your address, please. Is there anyone wishing to address the Winona County Board? Again, is there anyone wishing to address the Winona County Board? Seeing our screen's just a little bit different today. Seeing nobody, we'll move on. Item 3, approval of the county board meeting minutes from January 5th, 2021.
Kavesi,
Go ahead.
Kavesi moves approve the county board minutes of January 5th, 2021.
Meyer will second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Kavesi, second by Commissioner Meyer to approve the county board meeting minutes from January 5th, 2021. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay. Meeting minutes approved. Item 4, acknowledge receipt of approved committee minutes from 4.1 is extension March 12th, 4.2 is extension July 28th, 4.3 is extension September 10th, and 4.4 is the road and bridge of August 18th.
I'll move to acknowledge 4.1 through 4.4.
I have a motion by Commissioner Jacob. Was that Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Okay, second by Commissioner Olson to acknowledge the receipt of the approved committee meeting minutes 4.1 through 4.4. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, approved. All right. Item 5, consent comments and approval of the agenda. Mr. Fritz, do you have anything?
I don't have anything to change.
Okay. Commissioner Meyer?
Madam Chair, I have 3 brief reports from committees that I attended, and then I wanted to make a board action request.
Kavesi, do you have anything under consent or approval of the agenda?
Yeah, Commissioner Kavesi has several committee reports.
Okay. Commissioner Olson?
Nothing for me, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Jacob?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. And I will have, Ward will have a update on MCIT. Okay. All right. With that, a motion to approve the agenda would be in order. Okay. Motion by Commissioner Olson.
Commissioner Kavesi, second.
Okay. I had Commissioner Jacob seconded. Thank you.
Fine.
That's okay. So all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Agenda presented is approved. Mr. Fritz, if you'd read it into the record, please.
Okay, consent business, committee recommendations, 6.1, adopt driveway approach paving policy. 6.2, approve application for Minnesota Department of Agriculture grant for Stone Point Community Gardens deer fencing. 6.3, approve lease for 30 South Liberty Street. 6.4, accept certificate of performance and authorize final payment for SAP 085 641 002 or 002. 6.5, approve resolution to acquire right-of-way for CASA 30. 6.6, approve resolution to acquire right-of-way for CASA 25. 6.7, approve Winona County Regional Railroad Authority Board of Commissioners. 6.8, approve pay equity implementation report. 6.9, confirm payment of disbursements. That concludes the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda as read.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jacob to approve the consent business as read,
Meyer will second.
second by Commissioner Meyer. Any discussion? All right, this one we'll do a roll call vote, please. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
and Commissioner Ward votes aye. All right, thank you. Moving into general business. 7.1 is the discussion and appointment of our Citizen Advisory Committee volunteers. I do want to make a, on the page, and I'm referring to page 7.1, it's page, I think, 53 of 93. And I'm not sure if this is really a policy or just something we've done. It does say after in the star, the asterisk, it says applicants containing a strike through indicates they have been appointed to an alternate volunteer committee are not eligible for appointment to. And I don't know if we have that as a policy. We've kind of had it as a practice. So I don't know if we should blatantly say that once you're on a committee, you can't serve on, dual committees. I don't know that that's if we want to put that in a policy or if that's just been our practice. I did see it in there and it caught my attention. And I don't want the community to know that they're blocked out from, opportunities. And so maybe at some point in the future, because these committees will stand for the year, that we should discuss that as possibly a future agenda item at some point in time. But anyway, back to the discussion at hand. We have several committees, and I think we indicated last meeting that we needed to post for those committees. And I think we'll be using the website and possibly some media to cover those openings. But my job today here is to do the Planning Commission. And I don't take this task lightly. And under normal circumstances, the county board has reappointed members to our citizen advisory committees when they've been eligible. Only one time in my many years of service do I remember this not happening. So it is kind of a precedent. And I do respect our practice, our consistency in our process and our logic. One of the responsibilities I take very seriously as a county commissioner is to mitigate and avoid any liability and lawsuits for the county. With the limited applications, as we went through last time when we selected people for our committees and following the rule of just having one individual being allowed to be on one committee at a time, it really limited the options for planning commission membership. And I really struggle with the reappointments because those three appointments have been listed as recipients of the chain of emails that stem from the LSP and that are related to the current, daily farms situation. And I seriously question these reappointments. I did have conversations with all three applicants, the county attorney, county administration, and a member of the planning commission as to making these reappointments. And with great concern, I will reappoint. I feel I'm almost forced to reappoint. I would either have to reappoint or I would have to not appoint any of them and ask for a whole new slate of candidates. But I've been assured by the individuals that they can perform their duties in planning commission role. And I've been assured that they know the importance of their role. And I think in the upcoming training, that will be emphasized for both our Board of Adjustment and our Planning Commission members, to be able to follow the rules, the zoning procedures, and the quasi-judicial responsibilities. So with that said, I don't take these reappointments lightly. I have great concern about it, but again, I feel that I'm somewhat limited in my options. So I will reappoint Patrick Byron, Lynn Carlson, Kelly Stanich, and then I will appoint Arlie Herber and Louis Ryman to the Planning Commission. I have to emphasize that at any time, any member of the Planning Commission or the Board of Adjustment feels any type of conflict of interest, they need to reach out to the County Attorney's Office and consult and determine if it's right or wrong. And they have to know in their own mind too, if it's right or wrong that they continue in discussions regarding anything that they feel that they may have a conflict. I'm concerned for the citizens of Winona County, and basically it's the rural citizens of Winona County, that they get a fair and equal hearing on any applications that come for us in the future. And I think we can't emphasize this strongly enough, that these are very important roles, and that we all need to be cognizant of how this plays out for our entire community. So with that said, they are appointed to the Planning Commission. All right, is there any other discussion about the appointments? Okay, seeing nobody raise any question about the appointments.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
I
Commissioner
just
Meyer.
want to thank you for your thoughtfulness on this issue. I'm sure it was a difficult decision.
Okay, thank you. And again, I am encouraged by the number of applicants we are receiving. There was a day, a number of years ago where we struggled to get people to apply. I really do appreciate the number of citizens for all our committees that are willing to serve in any capacity. So thank you very much. I do hope staff, Mr. Fritz has acknowledged those that got appointed and acknowledged those that applied, and thank them for applying. We put some kind of communication out to them. And I would hope our system, our application system to me is cumbersome. So I'm hoping our system can maintain the applicants from that did not get appointed, and so that next year it's easier for them to apply, unless their information has changed and their interest has changed. But I hope we can maintain those applicants. All right, moving on then. 7.2, discuss county board appointments to the 2021 boards and committees. And we have a list, and that is on page, get to it. Okay, it starts on page 77. It's actually page, 77. And what are the wishes of the board, how to go through this list? Anybody desire to change any committees? It works. Commissioner Jacob.
Yeah, I would have one committee that I would advocate to be on that's not on this list would be the new Winona Crescent, Mississippi One Watershed, One Plan. I still feel as though city commissioners have the opportunity to be on that plan by allowing the city of Winona to have a spot on that plan. And I feel the rural community should have representation on that plan, as well as I sit on the Whitewater Joint Powers Board. That board should be included in this plan, and I would be the representative that would be a liaison from the Whitewater Joint Powers Board to the One Watershed, One Plan. So I would like to be the commissioner to sit on that. 1-1.
Okay, we don't have that listed because it's a relatively new committee. I do have a question, Commissioner Jacob. Does the Whitewater Joint Powers have assigned commissioners to be on the La Crescent, Mississippi?
No, there, the only representation from that board would be through the SWCD.
Okay. And a SWCD, an elected person or a staff person?
It's set up the same way as the one, the Root River with the policy committee
Yeah,
having
elected.
the elected.
Okay, so it would, excuse me, it would be a soil and water elected representative then?
But that's, I mean, I reviewed the memorandum of understanding that it was set up with the same structure with the policy committee, the staff committees, and an alternate could be if the elected couldn't appear, you know, could sit
Sure.
in as a staff member. Could sit in.
Okay. And so has the Whitewater made that, I'm sorry, it would be a soil and water, have they made that appointment? The Whitewater Joint
Madam
Powers?
Chair,
No, the board doesn't make that committee makes.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Meyer.
I think Ms. Qualley had some information on that she would like to share with us.
Oh, okay, Ms. Qualley, are you there? You have some input for that? Because I haven't seen.
Yes, Madam Chair. For the policy committee, it's an SWCD board member and not a staff member. And Daryl Buck just noted that, and you can talk to him directly, but Bill Rowekamp was elected or appointed as their representative. They're from the SWCD board. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so with that being said, yeah, Bill Rowekamp does not sit on the Whitewater Joint Powers Board.
Right.
So there would be no representation from the Whitewater Joint Powers Board elected to the WinLAC. I call it WinLAC.
Uh-huh.
One.
Really?
I
Why,
like that. Okay.
why would, and you take up a good geography, percentage of the land?
Every acre of the Whitewater Joint Powers acres are in the new one WinLAC boundaries.
So why wasn't, I guess my question would be, why wasn't that board allowed a seat at the table? I mean, you're right, Mr. Rowekamp is Winona County.
Well, yeah, and so the other concern I would have is that without the Whitewater Joint Powers Board having a connection to the WinLAC, it makes that board less and less relevant to the point where why does it even exist if it's only going to be subservient to the new one watershed plan? It's going to try to compete with a big 1-1 plan. I don't know. I feel like either we should have representation from the Whitewater Joint Powers Board on the WinLAC, or else that board might as well just dissolve.
Madam Chair, Madam
Commissioner
Chair.
Meyer.
Yeah,
Commissioner
we had a pretty extensive debate about this a few months ago when we voted to appoint Commissioner Kavesi as the primary and Commissioner Jacob as the alternate to this committee. I could reiterate the concerns and the arguments that I had at that time. If that is something that you would like to be reminded of.
Well, I guess I'm unclear. I haven't seen, and maybe it came and I missed it. I haven't seen the organizational structure of this new
Right.
watershed.
This committee determines the organizational structure.
Right. So I don't know who the board
Commissioner
members are.
Kavesi is representing us, and so she would probably be able to tell us, or Ms. Qualley would be able to tell us where
Yeah,
they
has
are in
that
the
been-
organizing.
Right. Has that been determined? And I don't know that it was shared with the whole board. Commissioner Jacob.
Well, and I'd like to point out that when that board was set up, they did extend to the city of Winona, a city of Winona representative that has a vote on that board. I think that came from the Winona City Council. Is that where that vote came from? I believe. So there's already city of Winona representation on there, but oddly enough, it's void of any representation from the largest land.
Madam Chair? Madam Chair?
Just a minute, Commissioner Jacob has the floor.
No, that's,
Okay, Commissioner Meyer.
Thanks. One of the concerns that I had at the time, and I can reiterate it now, Commissioner Jacob has just described to us why he feels that the Whitewater Watershed Board should be dissolved. And I think it's been my concern all along that having made that decision in advance is premature, and that I think that it maybe clouds his judgment about what this new joint power, what this new organization, how it should be formed. And so that was one of my concerns from the beginning. The other concern is that all water resource boards that we have are already being represented by either you or Commissioner Jacob. And since this watershed is contains wholly the city of Winona, and certainly by population, the majority of the population is here in the city of Winona, that at least for this portion, I thought it made sense to allow both one of the commissioners from the city and also for Commissioner Jacob to be the alternate, so that both are there. Having said that, I really don't see much change in that, really, in terms of how it is I felt about it. And I had citizens in the city that reached out to me that really wanted this appointment. So my mind on this topic really hasn't changed since we discussed this several months ago.
well, I would certainly accept letting Commissioner Kavesi be the alternate. If Commissioner Meyer is implying that me being the alternate somehow gives me a voice, it doesn't give, being the alternate doesn't give the Whitewater Joint Powers Board a voice on that board, only in the absence of Commissioner Kavesi's attendance. So, and as for Commissioner Meyer's statement that the city represents a larger population, each one of our districts represents 10,000 people in the county of Winona. So Commissioner Kavesi's district represents the same amount of people as my district. So I don't follow that train of thought. My entire district is in that watershed. So I represent 10,000, she represents 10,000.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Kavesi.
Yeah, just a point of clarification. At times we've been talking about the La Crescent, Winona, Mississippi watershed plan and board. And at times we've been talking about the one watershed, one plan for the Whitewater board. So I think we need to clarify which one we're talking about. There are actually 3 watershed groups under the one watershed, one plan for Whitewater. Is Commissioner Jacobs saying that all 3 need joint powers representation? They've been folded into the Whitewater one watershed, one plan group, and they still need to have their own input. So that's why they exist as separate entities. But I don't think they each need a representative to the Joint Powers Board. The one watershed, one plan group for the Whitewater has not yet met. We had an initial introductory session, and we've had a doodle poll, and I believe we have a meeting scheduled for next week. Excuse me, for the 25th of January. So that board, the one watershed, one plan board, has not yet met.
Okay,
I didn't follow that.
Yeah, I'm confused.
It sounded to me like, I don't know, it sounded to me like Commissioner Kavesi doesn't understand the boards.
well,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, is Ms. Qualley still there?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, I am confused because yes, we did make an appointment, but I haven't seen any information, and again, maybe I missed it.
We haven't met yet, Commissioner Ward. I
No,
said that.
but who is this? I don't know who this board is. We're talking about, we have a Winona County. Do we have Wabasha County Commissioner? Do we have an Olmsted
Yes.
County Commissioner?
Yes.
We have Soil and Water. I
Yes.
haven't seen that, I guess, and that leads to my confusion as to the representation. And I am a little, sitting on the Root River one, and concerns that this was all supposed to simplify and streamline water funding and everything. It hasn't quite held up to that model yet.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Ms.
So the One Watershed, One plan for the Mississippi River Winona and Mississippi River La Crescent has been shortened into something called WINLAC, obviously because of the length of that title.
Can you
And
spell
so the
that?
policy committee,
WINLAC? WINLAC?
yes, capital LAC, so Winona La Crescent.
Okay, gotcha.
And so at this point, the policy committee has county representation for the county. So for instance, Olmsted County has a representative, and they selected Matt Flynn, who's the current chair of the Whitewater. Wabasha County also has representation on the new policy committee. Bob Walks is newly elected to the Wabasha County Board and is on the WINLAC and the Whitewater's Joint Powers Board. And as we said already, as Daryl mentioned, it's the Winona La Crescent One Watershed One plan, known as WINLAC, is not the Whitewater One Watershed One plan. Whitewater is part of it all and has representation through at least 2 county commissioners at this time. And so one policy committee meeting has taken place, which was organized with Bowser and with Sheila Harms, my department's water planner, just to introduce people to one another from the various counties, as well as the soil and water conservation districts. Lynn Zabel from the Wabasha SWCD, who's also on the Whitewater's Joint Powers Board, is a member too. So direct membership from Winona County from the Whitewater is not present, but there are at least 3 representatives on the WINLAC Policy Committee that are going to be representing, no doubt, the Whitewater's interests. Thank you, Madam Chair. If there's anything else I can help with, our water planner, Sheila Harms, is also in the meeting and can provide more information.
And I would advocate that Winona County does the same thing as Olmsted County and Wabasha County. Olmsted County appointed the commissioner that sits on the Whitewater Joint Powers Board to the WINLAC Board, and Wabasha County appointed the commissioner that sits on the Whitewater Joint Powers Board to the WINLAC Board. And I would advocate that Winona County follows through, since we don't even have soil and water representation, as Wabasha County does. And I believe Kay Qualley just stated that Olmsted County does too. So I think we need that connection, and I feel if we don't follow through with that, it's a clear really disenfranchising the rural constituents that live in those areas.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Meyer.
Yeah, okay, so did we not just hear that Bill Rokamp is representing soil water?
Yeah, he's not on the Whitewater Joint Powers Board.
Oh, but we do have 2 representatives from Whitewater who are also sitting on this policy committee. So Whitewater does have representation.
Not through Winona County.
Right. Well, it doesn't seem like that major a point to me, but you know.
It does to me.
Well, clearly it does.
Yeah.
Again, I have concerns in that you have already made up your mind that the Whitewater watershed should be dissolved, and I don't know that that maybe clouds your vision in the formation of this new committee. And I still have to advocate for the citizens of the city who have reached out to me, wanting their concerns to be represented on this board as well. So.
Okay, and I guess maybe Attorney Sonneman could answer this question. Are these appointments for a 1-year term?
I'm looking at the
Okay,
memorandum. I'm not,
yeah,
me
I'll let
just-
you look at it.
and
My experience, if I could share my experience with the Root River 1-1 is that it's unclear as to the competitiveness of the dollars. The 1-1 got a big chunk of money initially, but there's still small, and again, this was one of the concepts when the state decided to go to this, that it would eliminate some of the need to compete for these dollars, but there still is some of that competitiveness going on. And I can see somewhat Commissioner Jacobs' point is that the Whitewater has always been very successful in getting very large grants to do work over the many years. So again, where this all plays out, how the dollars are distributed equally throughout the area, is concerning. Does it have the biggest impact? And I know the Root River one, we've got criteria and staff evaluates and money has been moved around to accomplish some of the goals and everything. So it's just like water. It's forever changing and flowing different ways. And is it really going to accomplish the ease of doing projects on the ground that have impact on our citizens and our water and what we do with water? Again, I don't know that has a definitive answer yet. And if we know, if it's just Commissioner Jacob.
Yeah, so Commissioner Meyer, you stated multiple times here this morning that you have concern about whether I feel the Whitewater Joint Powers Board has relevance in the future. And of course, that's a concern of mine, overlapping government, parallel or duplicative government. But what I'm saying is your position of taking what I would consider to be representation from my district off of that board only makes the Whitewater Joint Powers Board less relevant. If my district is both part of the Whitewater Joint Powers Board and the liaison representation to the Winlock Board, I feel that adds the need or relevance of the Whitewater Joint Powers Board. So I feel what you're doing makes the Whitewater Joint Powers Board less relevant.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Kavesi.
Yeah. Several times it's been mentioned about competition between these boards for grant money. That was one of the purposes of the One Watershed, One Plan process, was to deal with competition and to also deal with the watersheds as a system, not as individual county efforts to apply money to. So it seems like from Commissioner Jacobs' remarks that he wants to continue the competition between these because of his belief that the Whitewater Joint Powers should have full authority or full grant application possibilities. I don't know, but in streamlining the other information by eliminating water boards. So I'm in favor of the One Watershed, One Plan option because it deals with that competition in a more fair manner, and it also deals with the watersheds as a system, not as individual county efforts.
Attorney Sonneman has an answer to my question.
Yeah, looking at the bylaws, which I'm not sure have been adopted yet because they just had
Right.
that orientation meeting. First of all, the policy committee is composed of one county commissioner from each county in the WinLAC.
And that's three.
I'm sorry?
That's Houston, Wabasha, four. Olmsted and Winona.
Hold on. Sorry.
I don't think it includes Wabasha.
It is.
Yeah, it does.
Houston,
It does?
Olmsted,
Okay.
Wabasha, and Winona.
Okay, gotcha.
And so one county commissioner from each county, one soil and water conservation district supervisor from each county, one manager from the watershed district, and one council member from the city as designated by the governing board council of each member local unit of government. And the term of each member of the policy committee is a minimum of 1 year to run concurrent with their term on their elected
So just to
Can you
clarify,
explain the last, you just said the last members, explain that to me again.
It's listed as
City?
this
Mhm.
one city council member from the city as designated by the governing board council of each member local unit of government.
So how many cities?
I don't think it,
would that
Yes.
include like
We know Winona is a voting member, right?
Altura?
it is, I'm sorry, the local units of government are listed as Houston, Olmsted, Wabasha, Winona counties, Olmsted Conservation District, Root River Conservation District, Wabasha Soil and Water, Winona Soil and Water, Stockton, Rolling Stone, Minnesota City Watershed District, and the city of Winona. That's what it's listed.
Only the city, not like the city of Altura or
They're
St.
not listed.
They're not listed,
in the
okay.
proposed bylaws.
And would St. Charles be in that geographic
Yes.
area?
The city of Winona gets representation, but no outlying Altura, Rolling Stone, Elba,
And again, this,
Altura.
It hasn't been
We
adopted
give
yet.
voting to St. Charles. We give voting rights to Winona, the city of Winona.
these
and
are
we
the
give a
proposed
Winona-
bylaws, Commissioner Jacob. So
Okay.
it might be up to the policy committee, again. And Bowser's recommendations.
So
on adding.
I completely feel like leaving a rural commissioner off of this board circumvents the plan that they open this up to the city of Winona, put a city of Winona city council member on there, and then to duplicate it with yet another commissioner from the city limits of Winona feels like, I'll call it both a power grab and a elimination of the intent of the way it was set up. So, I mean, obviously you three commissioners have the power to do what you want to do, and you're going to do what you want to do. But I needed to make my case because I feel like my rural area is being disenfranchised, and you're circumventing the intent of the way this was set up. So, I'll leave it
Madam
at that.
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Meyer.
thanks. So in this county, we have a number of boards that deal with water issues. Soil water, the Whitewater Joint Powers Board, the One Watershed, One Plan. And there is no city representation from a city county commissioner on any one of those boards. And so we ask for a city person to be on, a city commissioner to be on the board that's forming the One Watershed, One Plan that actually encompasses the city of Winona and Goodview. And then I guess that isn't a reasonable request. And I do think that itself kind of flies in the face of what Commissioner Jacob is saying. We never rotate any of those other committee memberships. And so and the White Watershed Water actually has several members who are representing that. Bill Rokamp is a longtime farmer and sits on soil water, and I'm familiar with Bill, so I know he does a great job representing the county. So I think this accusation is just a little bit unfair. Commissioner Kavesi, if I understand this right, was appointed for a one-year term, and she hasn't even had the chance to meet with that group yet. And Commissioner Jacob is wanting to get the appointment away from her. So it seems to me like we should at least let that vote that we took several months ago stand for a year before we revisit this topic.
Okay. Commissioner Kavesi, you indicated that you will be having your first meeting next week?
Yeah, I believe it's on the 25th. We just completed a doodle poll because it's a large committee, as you know, and excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a large committee, and you know it's complicated to get it organized. We have had one introductory meeting, and that's been the extent of it so far. So our next meeting is scheduled for the 25th. I believe it's in the morning.
Okay, and at that meeting, will you elect a chair, vice chair, and usually it's a recording secretary?
I believe so. I haven't seen the agenda yet, but
Okay.
it's a new committee and we're just getting started. So that would be
Yes,
the
that would be
usual practice.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think, and Attorney Sonneman probably can.
It's at
you
9
would-
o'clock on Zoom.
Okay, and at that meeting, you would probably adopt the bylaws,
I would
and
imagine, or
talk about
more
them.
specifics.
So that would be the opportunity for anyone, in my opinion, both the appointed and the alternate, to look at those bylaws and ask if there's any changes that need to be made to bylaws. That's part of the process also. Because I know we, at the Root River one, we did have to change some things, the way the processes were as far as how we paid the bills. Staff was paying the bills without the board knowing it, and we needed to change that process so that the board approved payments in a timely manner. So I would encourage Commissioner Jacob as the alternate to partake in that
We
meeting.
haven't voted on this yet.
No, but I mean, right now you're sitting as the alternate. I'm under the presumption.
Commissioner Ward.
Just a second, I have Attorney Sonneman. Olson.
I just want to mention, people are using the chat function to leave messages like.
Oh, and we
Daryl
can't.
Buck. Yeah, and it appears and then it disappears. So I think I would encourage people who are leaving chats to ask to be heard rather than leave a
Right, because
chat.
I can't see, I do see the box and I see
Yeah,
the number,
so-
but I have no idea what,
Making little comments to
okay.
what's being discussed
Yeah,
that
and that's
might
not on my
be
screen here.
helpful
Okay.
to the
All right, so if
discussion.
we have points of if somebody has an important point of clarification, please unmute and ask to be recognized. Commissioner Olson.
Madam Chair,
Well, I had Commissioner, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Olson.
Yeah, I just, the one thing I'm struggling with here is the definition of liaison. So if you're going to represent the county as a liaison on these committees, I do believe you have to represent the county as a whole, not as an individual. So I see some struggle with that, and that's just the point I wanted to make, that, you know, the term liaison, you do represent the entire board and the directions of the board. Thank you.
All right, thank
That's
you. Just
yeah.
one, maybe a technical, I think Heidi, were you trying to tell us something?
I believe it was Ms. Harm, Sheila Harm.
Butterbox.
yes, Madam Chair,
Oh, okay. Yes,
can you
Ms.
hear,
Arms?
can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to, I was the one who was putting some things in chat because I was muted and I didn't want to interrupt. But just kind of going back to the bylaws, there was a reference to that, and Karen Sonneman read what I had put into the bylaws about the policy committee members that are selected from each entity would serve for one term, and that would be concurrent with their being on their respective board. And also within those bylaws, the policy committee members are responsible for representing their entire board on the policy committee for the Mississippi River, Winona, and La Crescent watersheds. So that's the framework for that. And so those bylaws have been circulating around through some of the county attorneys for review. The county attorney for Wabasha reviewed and approved them, and also for Houston County. And I think Karen is still looking at it, and Olmsted County, I have not heard a response yet. So just to let you know what the status of the bylaws are, and the bylaws are voted on by the policy committee. The individual boards will be voting on the Memorandum of Agreement, and that will be on this board's next board meeting on January 26th. So that's the Memorandum of Agreement, and that one has been approved as to form by all of the county attorneys involved, as well as the city attorney looked at it. So basically, this planning grant, the whole thing that everybody is involved with policy committee members from each of the participating partner boards or councils, all we are doing is, this is an agreement to get together, to work together, to plan, to identify priorities, and to plan on to identify what our concerns are and what we're going to do about it. It's not a power grab. Each of these entities will remain their own entities. And it is a way to try and identify what the priorities are and what needs to be done. And we're doing that by agreeing to collaboratively work together to make those decisions. But each entity, in the end, is responsible for doing their part within that entire watershed. So we're not creating another layer of government. We're just agreeing to work together to implement this planning grant. And that's all it is a grant.
Okay, stay there, Sheila, because I have some questions, but Commissioner Jacob.
Sure. Well, I'd like to speak to Commissioner Olson's discussion about a liaison. Commissioner Olson, where I'm coming from is that you can see that Olmsted County has put a liaison, Matt Flynn, from their county board to the Winlock One Watershed, One Plan. Wabasha County is putting Bob Wackus from the Whitewater Joint Powers Board to the Winlock Board. Winona County does not have the commissioner in Winona County that sits on the Whitewater Joint Powers Board is me, because it's in my district and it's in my, that's where the land is that I represent. And so I don't understand what you're saying about the liaison position. The way it's set up now is we're eliminating that liaison entirely. And I might also say that where Commissioner Meyer was pointing out the number of people that each one of us represents. The other thing is the number of acres that each one of us represents. I would be willing to bet that there's at least 100 acres, if not 1,000 acres in my district for each acre that's in Commissioner Kavessi's district. So each one of those acres pays taxes too. So I feel like it is disenfranchising to the people who live and pay taxes in the district. And to the statement, is it a power grab? Well, certainly there's going to be monies that are going to be associated with these different block grants, and with the city of Winona already having representation through the city council. Now there'll be a city commissioner as well, and the removal, in my view, the removal of the rural commissioner that represents the largest land district. So it is as it is, and you can interpret it how you want to, but I see it differently than maybe Sheila Harms is stating, or the other commissioners are stating.
Okay, Sheila, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and I understand that this is early in the process, and I think Commissioner Kavessi has indicated that, there's a meeting coming up. So at that meeting also, I know there was, when the Whitewater, or when the Root River did it, have you personally been selected to be the point staff person to coordinate all this by the committee?
Yeah.
Or?
Well,
Yes.
I haven't been selected by the policy committee. I submitted the application for the planning grant on behalf of all the partners.
Okay.
And so that was kind of worked out between the planning work group members, and also the Root River SWCD has agreed to serve as fiscal for this planning grant. And when you referenced earlier about who pays the bills, for this planning grant, Root River SWCD, once the work plan is approved by Bowser and the policy committee, and the grant is initiated, the monies will actually sit with Root River SWCD, and they will make the payments to the consultant that helps us write the plan during the planning process. So that might be a little bit different than what the Root or the Zumbro planning or policy committees are doing right now, because those are they're in the implementation phase. So that's a little bit different than the planning phase where we are starting to write the plan. So nothing has been created as far as an entity. It's just that Root River SWCD is responsible for the financial end of things.
Okay, all right, thank you for that clarification, but that will change. So it's important to know going forward, the staff coordination, the fiscal agent policy, and who will do that in the future, and I guess that will come in the future. And I greatly appreciate these planning work groups. Now that tends to be staff, and
correct.
They, so again, I think Commissioner Jacobs is concerned about the balancing of a city and the rural landscapes. And I think the planning work group, the makeup of that has not yet been determined, correct?
The planning work group is the staff, Madam Chair. So that would be.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So that would be myself. I knew Lou Overhaug is assisting with that, and Megan Cabelli is assisting in that capacity as well. She's been helping me work with some things with developing things for the meeting on the 25th. As far as the other counties, Skip Langer, who's the district manager at Olmsted County or Olmsted SWCD, and Caitlin Brady, they are on the planning work group representing Olmsted County and SWCD. Dan Warmager from Root River SWCD and Dave Walter are for the Houston County and the Root River SWCD. Terry Peters, she's the manager at SWCD, and one of her new techs, Keely Hansen, is also assisting her on the planning work group, and that's for Wabasha County. So that's the core staff that are involved with the planning work group.
You don't have any staff from the Winona County SWCD other than, well, you
yes,
kind of.
Daryl Buck. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't hear his name listed. Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Okay.
Can I ask
Madam
Sheila
Chair?
Arndt's question?
Yes, Commissioner Jacob has a question for Sheila.
Okay.
Sheila, where did the name Winlac, how was that, who authorized that name?
I'm glad you asked, Commissioner Jacob. We were just trying to find a way to come up with a shorter, saying the Mississippi River, Winona, Mississippi River, La Crescent is kind of cumbersome. And we were just trying to brainstorm, and that came from the policy or the planning work group, just to kind of get together, well, is there a way that we can call it something shorter and easier to say? And I think it was Daryl that actually came up with Winlac, just because it sounds, it's quicker and easier to say. It's not something that was officially authorized. We initially thought Windcrest, but then that would be too similar to the Trout Unlimited chapter in Winona. So we thought Winlac sounded like a good compromise, and it seemed like it would be a reasonable thing to use.
It hasn't been voted on by any particular.
No, definitely not.
Okay, and the reason I would have concerns about it is representing the Whitewater area, which is the largest landmass in the Winlac One Watershed, One Plan. It seems wrong to me. It should probably be Whitewater Winlac, or Whitewater should be part of that.
How about the Mississippi? Yeah, we forgot about the Mississippi.
Oh.
Okay.
So
Well, we're just looking for a way to
Okay.
say something easier. It is the Mississippi River Winona La Crescent watershed. And that's a term that the
En-
PCA
en-
uses.
encompassing the Whitewater
Correct, it does.
watershed.
So that is something, Commissioner Kavesi, you could say that some members of the Winona County Board have concerns over the name or the acronym or whatever you want to call it, because that will stay for a long time. That has some long-term implications. And was it the best, or is it, and should it be officially adopted? Because it sounds like that reference will be used in applications and everything. Is that going to be confusing? So Sheila, when you apply for something, would you put down, if it's voted on, WinLAC, or would you put down the Mississippi, La Crescent, all the words, when you apply for a grant?
Well, I think if I apply for a grant, I would use the term that the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency uses for the watershed. And in the MOA, I do have Mississippi River, Winona, La Crescent watershed. But then there is another point in the MOA where I say otherwise referred to as WinLAC 1W 1P.
Right, so maybe that's a presumption that should be discussed at the.
We can certainly add it to the agenda for the meeting on the 25th.
I feel that it should be approved not by staff, again, it should be approved by the voting members of the policy committee. I think that's a pretty bold action. So I would ask that be discussed at the first meeting.
Okay, I certainly can add that, Commissioner.
I'm just one, but I mean, again, there has to, the electeds have a responsibility and the staff have a responsibility, and we need to, I think the electeds have the ultimate responsibility, because they're going to determine the spending of taxpayer dollars to do these projects. Staff isn't accountable for spending taxpayer dollars, nor should they, but the electeds are responsible for spending tax dollars. Commissioner Meyer.
Yep, I mean, I will support your request that the name be reflective of the entire landmass that is being included. So in looking at what's in front of us today for the county board appointments to boards and committees of us as commissioners, I don't even see that this particular appointment is on here. And I think that I heard the county attorney say that it was probably a one-year appointment. I think maybe we did it in October.
Yes, we did.
So I don't really even think that it would be appropriate to change that appointment or to discuss the change of that appointment until at least a year has passed. Now, I may be wrong on that, but I honestly feel like we should give the appointed commissioner the chance to at least attend some meetings before we change. So I'm not sure exactly what Commissioner Jacobs' intention was today, to try and to re-vote on this particular appointment, or is that what you were intending, Commissioner Jacob?
Commissioner Jacob would like to respond.
Thanks.
Yes, this is all of our committees, and when they start, they're going to start when they start. It doesn't mean that it's more than a year. I mean, she was appointed in October. That doesn't put her on for a year and 2 months. At the start of the year, we appoint all of our committees. This is one of our committee. We need to make appointments to it. Otherwise, she'll term out in October, and that's when her year would be up. A committee could start at any time during the year, and at the end of the year, this is when we reappoint all of our committees. So this was the appropriate time for me to have this conversation. And I know it's been a long roundabout way it's been a long discussion to get to where we're at now, but I don't know if we're going to vote on each one of these or how we're going to appoint to all of our committees, but I'm going to, or I am advocating that I want to be, Commissioner Ward opened it to how do we want to approach this? And I want to be on that committee, and I think it's going to take a vote of the full county board to decide who the representation will be for the next 12 months. So otherwise we're going to term out in October, and we'll have this discussion then, because she was appointed for a year, I guess, according to your philosophy, Commissioner Meyer. So,
Right. So,
Madam Chair?
yes, Sheila.
Yes, I know, I think it was mid-October that this board selected, made the selections for the policy committee. And we had an informal orientation meeting December 14th. And it was, so January 25th is the first official policy committee meeting for this One Watershed, One Plan. So if you're looking at when the first meetings start, you know, January, Commissioner Kavesi's term, I guess technically would be starting at that time through the end of 2021. So it would be appropriate for her to remain on there and then have a revote going into 2022 for representation on that board or on that policy committee.
did any emails go out to anyone before the first of the year on this One Watershed, One Plan? I know
Yes,
it did, because
to
I got one.
identify when to have a meeting.
Okay, so then the process started before the first of the year. So the process was ongoing last year. I believe this, as all our committees, we need to appoint someone to every committee that we participate in at the first of the year.
I guess it's a resolution of process. We do these committees in January of all our boards. And the sheet that we have and the sheet that was provided did not include the Mississippi River La Crescent Winona organization. We did vote. Do we want to reaffirm that vote?
No, I want to change it.
Okay, all right. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to a point that I want to be the representation, just like I'll fight for any of the other committees that I'm on.
Okay, we have,
So, yeah, to the-
a motion that Commissioner Jacob would like to be the, what's the right term? The representative of, and not the alternate. You want to be the lead on the Mississippi River La Crescent Winona Watershed Group. Do I have a second? I'll second it for discussion and for clarity. Any other? Sheila, do you have something? Your box.
Not at
lit
this
up.
time, ma'am.
Oh, okay, your box lit up. I apologize. Okay.
If you second, does that mean I have to take over the meeting? Madam Chair?
On a second?
Or is it okay?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, take it over, Commissioner Meyer, for this particular one.
Okay, so then now discussion would be open on this motion.
And it is just the one committee that we're discussing at this point in time.
Right.
All right. So I guess,
I don't want to discuss anything that we haven't already discussed.
Okay, so hearing no discussion, I think we're ready to take a vote. So I'll do the roll call vote. I'm not sure what order you usually go in. I think Commissioner Kavesi?
The motion is
to appoint Commissioner Jacob as the primary representative on the Mississippi Winona
right.
Mississippi La Crescent One Watershed, One Plan formation committee, or yeah.
Yeah. Kavesi votes no.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, no.
Commissioner Jacob,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward,
I'll vote aye.
and Commissioner Meyer votes nay. So I believe the motion fails, and
Yes.
Commissioner Kavesi, Commissioner Ward, you take back control of the meeting.
All right, thank you. All right. So I guess there's confusion of an October or January I would entertain a motion then to reconfirm the current representation on the the Mississippi River La Crescent Winona watershed. I'm looking for a motion to reconfirm the appointment that was made in October so that we get everything on a, I guess, a January timeline is what I'm saying.
Commissioner Olson will make a motion to reaffirm our appointment of Commissioner Kavesi, Winona County Commissioner Kavesi, not Winona City Commissioner Kavesi, to this board.
All right.
Commissioner Meyer will second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Olson, second by Commissioner Meyer to reaffirm the appointment of Commissioner Kavesi as the Winona County representative to the Mississippi River La Crescent Winona watershed. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Meyer.
I would ask Commissioner Kavesi to do her best to represent the entire county, both rural and urban areas. And I would thank her for that attention to her duties.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
that's certainly my commitment, as it is on all the committees that we are liaison to. So thank you for reaffirming that, Commissioner Meyer.
Okay, we will proceed. We need a roll call vote. So the motion is to reaffirm Commissioner Kavesi to that role. Commissioner Meyer.
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Olson.
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Kavesi.
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Jacob.
Jacob, nay.
And Ward will vote aye. So Commissioner Kavesi is in that role. All right.
Madam Chair, just
Yes.
a point of clarification. You're correct that on if you make a motion or if you make a second,
We should
as the
pass.
chair, you have to pass the gavel.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
That's in the ground rule.
I'm glad.
So-
It's not grounds for removing me from my current position.
Clear that up.
All right.
So-
Okay.
No, Commissioner Ward, I have utmost faith in your ability to lead our meeting. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, so with that all said and done, I need a motion to confirm our appointment of Commissioner Jacob as the alternate to the Mississippi River La Crescent watershed group.
Meyer will vote so.
A motion? Is that a motion?
that is-
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Yes,
I'll-
Commissioner Kavesi second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Kavesi to appoint Commissioner Jacob as the alternate to the Mississippi River La Crescent watershed. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
and Commissioner Ward votes aye. So we have that down. So going back to our original sheet of committees, is there any, give this a thought, is there anybody that wants to change something? I do need to, because of COVID, I know the dates and times of meetings and locations has greatly changed. So I don't know if we want to maybe just leave those as they are. Don't need to be confusing to the public if they want to partake. But most of the meetings I sit on are now Zoom meetings. I get the Zoom link, but I don't know if that's actually, it should be published on our calendar, the Zoom links. Like I have one coming up now, the emergency medical services. It's over in Rochester, but it is a Zoom. Now I get that link, and I think maybe Commissioner Meyer gets the link. But should we direct staff to have those links shared?
We can try, we're gonna have to rely on the people who create the meeting.
Okay.
And so that means each of those individuals would have to send something to us as well as you, or the member, you know.
Well, and I hope members of the public understand that the Zoom factor in our society has taken over. Will it be there long-term? That's debatable. But be assured that the date, time, and location of the meetings has been impacted by the COVID protocols.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yeah, the other thing is if any of you, as other commissioners, are interested, and I will say, so for example, the Minnesota Intercounty Association, because of their security concerns, they really don't send out that meeting link until about 2 hours prior to the meeting.
Yes.
But if I knew that you were interested in listening in, now I'm sure that you do get it, Commissioner Ward, because you're the alternate, but if
Yes.
anyone was interested in listening in, and you told me, when I got it, I would send it to you so that you would have access. But sometimes SEMCAC is similar in that they don't always publish it broadly many days in advance because they're worried about Zoom bombing.
Right, okay. Well, so I guess the word to the general public is if you see these committees, if you have an interest, please contact the commissioner that is appointed per the list, and we'll make sure that you get access to the meetings that are applicable and with the Zoom sites and everything. So, so back to is there anybody wanting to revise this list, or do we want to approve the 2020 list to go into 2021? Commissioner Jacob.
Yeah, I want to stay on the existing committees I'm on, and I'm not, don't want to arm wrestle for any other committees other than the one I already did. I would wonder though about Whitewater Joint Powers, whether if we should consider some type of requirement that there is no liaison now from our board to that larger entity that it sits in. I feel as though Commissioner Kavesi should attend those meetings and become the liaison. Then so she takes any information from the Whitewater Joint Powers Board developments to the new WinLAC board. The same as Olmsted and Wabasha County have commissioners sitting on that board, on both those boards.
So with that, putting Commissioner Kavesi as the alternate, which I have no problem with. Does that give the?
Oh, it creates a new dynamic that we didn't used to have. There is, just like there's a liaison from Planning Commission to this board and from the Board of Adjustment to the Planning Commission, I feel this creates a dynamic that there should be a liaison from the Whitewater Joint Powers Board to the Mississippi One Watershed, One Plan.
Any discussion on that?
Can you attend those meetings, Commissioner Kavesi?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So would it make sense to make Commissioner Kavesi the alternate?
She would not be a voting member, but she'd
Be an alternate. Well, what's your
I'd say a liaison.
liaison? Okay, and leave myself as the alternate?
Probably.
Okay, all right. So is that, do we need to make that, does the board desire to make that a full motion? That Commissioner Kavesi?
That would give us,
And leave out the name that the Mississippi River, La Crescent, Winona Watershed Board appointee be also attending the Whitewater Joint Powers meetings?
It seems appropriate. I mean,
Okay.
doesn't to the rest of the board, or?
The feelings of the rest of the board.
That connection should exist.
Okay, is that the form of a motion, Commissioner Jacob?
Sure, I'll make that a motion.
Okay, all right. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Well, I'll second it for discussion. Any more discussion?
So if you have seconded it, then I think you want
Yep,
to give.
then Commissioner Meyer, you take over.
Thank you.
There you
So the motion on the floor, and correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Ward, is that we would create some kind of a liaison position to the Whitewater Joint Powers Board and ask Commissioner Kavesi to accept that. Is that it?
Well, it's in not putting a name in it, but putting the title of Mississippi River, La Crescent, Winona County Board Representative.
From the White. Can we do that for the sorry. Okay, so that's the motion, and there has been a second. So I guess now is the time for for discussion. Do any commissioners have
Already to change.
something they would like to say?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Kowalski.
that would give us 3 commissioners. And I'm not sure that we have the authority to put that much commissioner input into the Whitewater Joint Powers. But
So for clarification, we don't have any,
Commissioner Jacob, yes?
yeah, we don't have any authority to change anything on the Whitewater Joint Powers Board. What I'm asking is that the commitment we've made to have a Winona County, have Commissioner Kavesi be the representation on the Mississippi One Watershed One plan, be the connection, that her connection be formalized as a liaison to the Winona Whitewater Joint Powers Board. She doesn't become part of that board, but there'd be a duty there to attend those meetings so that she's fully abreast of everything that goes on at that board to take it to the county position on the Winlock, on the Mississippi One Watershed One plan.
And Commissioner Meyer.
Commissioner Olson has unmuted himself. Do you?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Meyer.
Is it Commissioner Ward? Do you have something?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Meeting minutes from because I'm the alternate and I don't attend knowing that unless for some reason Commissioner Jacob cannot attend. But I get the meeting minutes, but problem with meeting minutes is they're very abbreviated and you don't get the tone or the inflection or the discussion at all. So I do understand Commissioner Jacob's
And many times not in time.
right, and right, the timeliness of them. But even our meeting minutes don't fully cover the tone or the discussion that we have. And I think I can identify with what Commissioner Jacob is saying. If we don't have that continuity in our leadership in this committee, we would maybe meet a void of what the Whitewater Joint Powers Board is looking at. Again, in perspective to the whole picture, what the Mississippi, I got to keep looking at my note, Mississippi River La Crescent watershed. I mean, my landmass sits in that. My little tiny landmass sits in that. And what happens way over in the Whitewater, because it's huge, the geography is huge. What happens over in the Whitewater area, it is one watershed would affect me, but how much would it affect me, and where is the representation? So I do understand Commissioner Jacob's concern of understanding and hearing the discussions and the tone and the concerns of that very large portion of the new group, I guess I'd have to say, till we figure out what to call it.
Sure.
Commissioner Meyer, I got a question of Commissioner Jacob. Are these meetings taped, or are there any record of them other than just the minutes?
There's audio, but internet connection down there is hard.
Yeah, it's down in Nevada.
But
That valley, is Sheila Harms still with us?
Yes, Ms. Harms, could you share with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, the meetings are taped so that the minutes can be typed up by Ann Schwertel. And we do keep a record of the recordings on the W drive at the county.
Okay.
So I know that the Soil Water Board meets in person, and so they put the recording, they do a video recording that's put on their website, and I routinely watch that. But Ms. Harms, we could put the audio recording of that meeting somewhere so that it would be available, A, to the public, and B, to any of the other commissioners who wanted to listen to that.
I think that would be a great idea. We could certainly coordinate that.
Okay. Commissioner Jacob, would it be acceptable if if Commissioner Kavesi could not necessarily attend every meeting, but if she listened to the recording so that she was informed of the activity at the meeting.
My motion was a liaison.
Yep.
Typically, Planning Commission liaison attends both meetings, and typically Board of Adjustment member attends both meetings. I think it would be preferable for her
So
to
is
attend
it,
in person, but if it
Yeah,
serves the purpose to listen to the meetings in their entirety.
I think one of the differences, at least as I see it, Commissioner Jacob, is that Board of Adjustment to Planning Commission, those are actually voting positions.
Yes.
And in this case, the representative, the liaison, is actually just there to listen,
Yeah.
not to influence any decisions.
Yeah. So that's part of the complexities of, if I had been appointed instead of Commissioner Kavesi, there'd be a liaison and a voting member in both positions, but it's not what we want. Creates what it creates.
So perhaps we could start with actually making, let's say, the last meeting available. We could test it out.
Okay,
So
if the,
further discussion, Madam Commissioner Ward.
yeah, Commissioner Meyer, thank you. So if these, we would highly encourage, I guess the motion is to have Commissioner Kavesi be a liaison.
Yes.
And I guess to clarify then, the motion is to have her as that position to be the liaison, and highly encourage attendance or through, whatever, internet or the recorded, to, again, understand that, or in person, the intended conversations and discussions of that group to reflect on the role of representing Winona County. So I guess I call the question.
Okay, I believe I'm chairing the meeting right now, so,
Oh.
but you would like to call it, if there is no further
would.
discussion,
Yeah.
then maybe we could go ahead and take a roll call vote. Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Just if I can clarify, the motion is for attendance or just for review of the recording?
I understand it as an appointment of a liaison, and that how this appointed liaison gets the information could be in person or via a recording. Is that your understanding of the motion, Commissioner Jacob?
That's adequate.
Okay. And Commissioner Ward, since you are
Yes.
the seconder?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll work.
Okay, Olson, aye.
Okay, Commissioner Jacob,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward,
Aye.
and Commissioner Meyer votes aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Madam Chair, I'm going to give you back control of the meeting.
All right, thank you. So did we agree? I would entertain a motion to maintain the published 2020 Winona County Board appointments to boards and committees, and renew it for 2021 with the addition that we have done.
Commissioner Meyer would so move.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Olson, to approve the published 2020 Winona County Board appointments to boards and committees, and to update it to say 2021. Any other further discussion? We'll do a roll call. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Commissioner Olson, aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
and Commissioner Ward votes aye. Okay, so those are our committee assignments. Thank you. Good discussion. 7.3, appoint the 2021 AMC delegates. And this is a requirement of the AMC needs updated. We currently have Commissioner Jacob on Environment and Natural Resources, Commissioner Kavesi on Health and Human Services, Commissioner Meyer on Public Safety Policy, and staff Highway Engineer David Kramer on Transportation and Infrastructure Policy, and Commissioner Ward on General Government. Is there any desire to change, or and these are the voting delegates on policies by AMC's policy and procedures. Is there any desire to change those appointments? Commissioner Olson, do you have any desire to, I know we have not your name on one of those policies. Is there any desire for you to serve on one of those policy?
If anybody wants to give up their post, I would certainly accept it.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Meyer.
The happy circumstances that they're all taking place via Zoom right now, which makes it incredibly easy to attend. So if you were interested in being on the Public Safety Committee, which discusses policing and jails, you know, you would be welcome to, you'd be welcome to take it. I don't know if that means I'd be without a committee or if I could go sit in on some other committee.
I think you could, we would have to double check. I think it's each county shall be entitled to a number of delegates equal to 3 or more. The question is voting. I'm trying to read the little box that's on the side of our, I mean, I know Commissioner Meyer, anybody can attend any of the policy meetings. It's just a matter of if Winona County has the voting authority. And Attorney Sonneman, are you faster reading?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It says individuals may not serve as a voting member on more than one policy committee. So I think you can be an observer, but you can't have 2 representatives
votes.
to vote. Yeah.
I guess and again, as they are Zoom meetings, it has changed our ability to partake versus most of the time these are in-person meetings and discussions. So I guess Commissioner Meyer, what is you are currently on that public policy. What is your desire?
Oh, I would happily share that or give it up to Commissioner Olson if he's interested.
Okay. I guess
it's fascinating. I learn a lot when I attend. That's all I'll tell you.
Thank you. I guess the question would be is by the AMC articles and voting is, can we appoint an alternate, say if Commissioner Olson, if we had 2 people appointed?
It does look, it says count, the little thing under here,
yeah.
It says counties must appoint at least 1 commissioner or county official to each of the 5 AMC policy committees. Individuals may not serve as a voting member on more than 1 policy committee. So it sounds like you can appoint more than 1, but only one
vote.
of them can vote. Or,
okay.
Yeah, there's only 1 vote from each county.
Okay,
Madam Chair.
So we could include Commissioner the way with that explanation. I believe we could appoint both Commissioner Meyer and Commissioner Olson to public safety, and you would have to work it out between yourselves who's going to vote.
I'm cool with that, and I mean I wouldn't want to unseat our county engineer because that he has in-depth understanding of that. I know that he's a really valuable member of that committee, so I would not want that. And I'm not on that committee. You and Commissioner Jacob are on those committees here for the county. So, yeah.
Olson, will you accept the challenge to determine the voting member?
Not a problem.
Okay. All right. So I guess a motion would be in order to make the reappointments and with the addition of Commissioner Olson to the public safety.
So moved.
Meyer was second.
Motion by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Meyer to reappoint the policy committee members to the AMC organization with the addition of Commissioner Olson being added to the Public Safety Policy Committee. Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call. Commissioner Meyer?
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Kavesi?
Commissioner Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Jacob?
Jacob, aye.
And Commissioner Ward votes aye. So thank you. And AMC's got a lot of good things. They're working on a lot of good things. So we need to maintain our active role, please.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Meyer.
I attended the annual meeting this year, and I thought the voting, like how fast the voting went when they did it via the polling features of Zoom. It was amazing how fast that went, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was run very smoothly. It worked well. of course, by the time, in my observation, by the time it gets to voting at the end, a lot of the wrestling and haggling over language and, points of clarity have happened. So yeah, the vote, but it did go very smoothly. I also agree. It was very quick and very easy to do.
I would
So-
say that the MICA board meetings as well, now that they're 100% through Zoom, are far easier to attend and comprehend. I mean,
Right.
it's way better.
Yes, yeah, it is. But I do miss the extra discussions that happen, at AMC meetings or MICA meetings where you learn so much from, our colleagues and stuff. And that doesn't seem to happen on Zoom, but we'll get back there someday. All right, 7.4, review. Does anybody want to take a break?
That would be great.
Okay, why don't we take a 5-minute break, and then we'll resume with our discussion of the respectful workplace policy. So take 5, people.
And for the one over here on Huff Street, I don't know if you saw that the university, this was a couple months ago, they put out that they came to some kind of agreement to swap. They got a big parking lot here and then they got the Quick Trip. So the university has that parking lot.
Yeah.
And then the Quick Trip is here and it has some houses around it. And then there's Gordy's gas station. Well, all but Gordy's and then the Quick Trip. The rest is all owned by the university and then the Quick Trip, right? So they came to an agreement to move the Quick Trip over on the parking lot and build a new one. Yeah, build a new one and then do the rest all as parking for WSU. So the WSU park is a little closer and then it's more contiguous. And then you get a new Quick Trip, which is a bigger one, you know, a new modern, you know, because that one's a little smaller. So that'd be nice if they get that done. Then I see on the corner of 61 and 43 right there, that Quick Trip, they bought the motel next to it. So they're planning on expanding that one too.
She let her off the hook.
Yeah, they don't like.
I was surprised though.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that she did go after her just a little bit.
It was a real small one. It is really small.
Yeah, yep.
It's about being a good journalist.
Yeah, they,
Well, I don't know what they teach them at journalism school anymore. I don't
amazing
know.
amount of business that goes through those places.
I don't know.
And they do such a good
But I
job
mean,
with-
we
we
have these discussions, you know, my husband and I at home, and then when my son comes home, he's got a whole different perspective, and it just, what do you, I don't know how you weigh out the extremes and come up with something in the
That's
middle.
where I think the extremes on both sides.
They don't all freeze over, right? They're all open.
Very much so.
I mean, there was a time when you and I were, you know, younger, right? And,
Yep.
Yeah, it's just been
And we had, went
unbelievably
through the
mild.
60s and 70s, there was a lot of fomenting and everything
Yeah.
like that. But in Congress, people were
Yeah,
able to
nice
sit
hike
down and work together. You know,
yesterday.
I mean,
on
they play, I mean,
some
they
of the
all
towering
lived there. I
bluffs.
mean, that's when I was growing up there, and my
My,
dad worked, you know,
one
with a lot
friend
of the
who
congressmen
fish
and
with,
senators, and
He's
they
decided
moved all
he
their
wants to
families to DC,
start being a
that they had
camper,
the
and so he's
social groups, you know, Republicans and Democrats, and
city. I mean, they live
I mean,
in, you know,
Dad would talk
Chicago
about
and
working with
area.
Bob
And,
Dole on food, you know,
he bought
on
a
children's
Subaru,
nutrition
and,
stuff.
Yeah,
now
I mean, you
he's
find
all
those
enamored
issues
with,
that
you
you
know,
can
that
agree on, and they
vehicle
agreed on a lot then, but now it's
And
so.
so he sent me a video.
so polarized.
he did.
I
It's just,
don't
uh,
I don't know where we're going. Although I told my husband, I said,
At the forest preserve, you know?
maybe
So he hiked up there. Then
shut it all
he's
off.
got his little-
Go off the grid.
little jet
Forget it.
engine, you know, that goes
Just look out at the
inside
beauty of the
we
landscape.
need people like you.
And then
Still,
he's got a
still,
little
there are days when I
bolt-out
want to go up to our
filter
farm
for the
too and just
coffee
look at the
and-
trees.
Just look at my
you know,
beautiful view
just-
shed.
Just narrating while he's doing it, you know, he drug his wife.
Honeys
out
and the
there,
deer.
sit there
Right,
in a
but I
park
mean,
All
bench,
right.
part of me
you
is
know?
that
It's like
when
8
the
in the
rhetoric
morning, you
gets to
know?
the point where it
I gotta
leads
show
to
you this picture
violence,
from
and I think
this,
that's where the shock was, even for, you know, the Republicans in the Senate. and the House.
Yeah.
I mean, that, like, they didn't think people were gonna actually do that. Well,
Well,
what do you think when
there's a lot of, yeah.
you know?
And I think the rhetoric on
This
both
president
sides,
didn't help.
the dismissiveness of the left and both parts, the dismissiveness of not recognizing there are different opinions.
Right, and the dismissiveness of not recognizing that there are people hurting.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who really have been left behind.
Yep. And I don't know where it's gonna go. But anyway,
I don't know,
All
we
right,
just have
are
to
we-
keep talking, that's all.
are we ready to start again? And we got everybody back? Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Kavesi.
That went through the valley.
I see Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Kavesi.
We're pretty- it's just beautiful.
We'll wait till Commissioner Kavesi joins us again. We're waiting on Commissioner Kavesi.
Find my notes here. Oh, there we go.
I haven't ever encountered personally any big predators out there, but yesterday the dog, you know, he's just like, just eager to go.
Mhm.
One place he just stopped and ran backward. He wanted to go the other way. And like, he smelled something dangerous.
What do you see?
Oh,
Are you seeing more, bear or something? I don't know.
Seen a lot more coyotes. than
Coyotes?
before, but, seen bobcat, heard a large cat once, and
Yeah.
yeah, they're saying timber wolves and bear in the area. So
Okay. I've got guys coyote
Timberwolf, huh?
hunting on my property with infrared system and everything.
neighbor shot a timber wolf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I haven't seen them. I haven't physically.
A along our.
It's
ridge
just
on the
trying,
tree
there's no bounty on them anymore or anything appreciable. Coyote, but it's just a predator control.
Yeah, but they're just out of control and they're getting way more brave.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
yeah.
would
ever
certainly
see
love
it.
to
They're
see
right in my yard.
a cougar sometime. I think that would be
Cougar?
really
I
exciting.
know Timberwolves came down this far.
What, Timberwolves?
Yeah.
Oh, are they moving down here?
Yeah, and the large cats too. I didn't realize.
Yeah, somebody had seen a bobcat on my
Oh,
property.
these are like cougars.
Oh,
He
cougars.
is.
Oh, that's a
Yeah, I would love to see that. Yeah.
Good.
Because
Okay.
they've had them
I've se-
around Rolling Stone. I mean, I have relatives through my husband that have photos of them, you know.
Yeah,
Wow.
yep. As long as they don't drag me off into the woods.
Oh,
and
yeah.
gnaw on me.
But I think
Yeah,
I think sometimes there are corridors along the bluff tops that they can, you know, migrate
Yeah.
through.
Sure, that could be. That could be.
yeah,
Okay,
and
I think
I've
everybody-
seen a bobcat, creeping around, but yeah.
Yeah.
And they're amazing. You look and you think, oh my God, is that a bobcat? And you go, yep, it is.
Yeah.
Not
Let
like
your
my
kitties out.
kittens at home.
Oh, when I lived in Rolling Stone, we were close to the, you know, the creek there. And so there were packs of coyotes. Man, especially in the summer at night when they get like doing that yipping thing when they're hunting.
Yeah, you can hear them.
Oh, that
Yeah.
is so creepy to
you're-
hear 4
Yes.
o'clock
Like
at
you're
night.
out in the old Wild West.
Yeah, yeah. They sound almost like a crazy person laughing. I mean, that's really,
Mm.
really
Okay.
amazing.
All right, I think we're all back. We will go to 7.4, review and discuss the respectful workplace policy. And Commissioner Meyer.
If you want me to kick it off, I will. I
Yes,
think
please.
I'm really just going to echo some of the comments that you opened our meeting with today. I think that we all as county commissioners want what is best for our county and for the community. And I realize that we all have real and substantial differences in our worldview. And so we have very different ideas of what that is, what is best for our community. And I guess I think that that is a reflection of the divisions that we have in the country right now. And like you, I would say, given the recent events of the last week, I'm inviting us to consider the county attorney's guidance and counsel on this matter of the respectful workplace policy, and that we renew our commitment to it and to the ground rules of communication. They don't appear in our packet, but I'm going to quote from number 4 that says, we listen respectfully to each other's perspective and we clarify for understanding without accusations. And she sent us a paragraph. The county commissioner, the county attorney sent us a paragraph from our respectful workplace policy. I won't read it, but I'll say that it provides a framework for us to share topics and opinions in a civil, fair, and equitable manner. And so I guess my question to the rest of the commissioners today is if you would recommit, as I will, to follow the ground rules and this respectful workplace policy. And second, if you would agree with me that these rules apply not just in this meeting and not just in this room, but in all the meetings that we attend where we're representing the county. And that's really all I'm asking today. Maybe others, have other thoughts.
Suggestion points. Well, it was seen that nobody else. It was brought up. Are we employees or are we not employees? And again, and there is something in here, and I should have highlighted it too, where we're asking our committee people to, our citizen volunteer committee people to adhere to this also. And can we? I guess legally, can we? I guess we can ask them anything, but
Well, you
if they
can
don't
ask.
sign it, is that?
I mean, I think what my memo that Mr. Meyer is referring to was written kind of in anticipation of a lot of different issues that might be coming up. And it's also the beginning of the year to kind of remind people what obligations commissioners have, elected officials under certain rules and regulations. But the respectful workplace policy, as I pointed out, is for employees, but is a county commissioner or an elected official an employee, and it depends. Again, it's one of those questions of in what context. So that's why I was recommending that you look at the ground rules that you adopted, and that you look at renewing your faithfulness to those ground rules, but also as a group, you can at least embrace the idea of the respectful workplace policies as being a good, guidance. But I had talked to, I'm not sure if Maureen Holte is on. I see Maureen there. Yeah. It's also kind of a personnel matter in terms of how do you legally define what an employee is. So I'm not sure we want to get into that, but it's just the overall thing of, being respectful to each other and following those ground rules and following meeting decorum, which you did adopt as a policy, and just being respectful of each other's views.
Okay, any other discussion?
Commissioner Ward?
Yeah,
Madam
Commissioner
Chair.
Kavesi.
Yeah, it seems to me that whether we're employees or not, in essence, no one is above the law, and we should be recommitting to the policy and the ground rules, and also extending those to all the meetings that we attend where we represent Winona County. That just seems like a basic promise or goal or whatever you want to say, whether we're employees or not, to be respectful of the board discussions and of each other. So.
Okay, anything else?
I guess I would just note, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead,
Commissioner Ward,
Attorney.
Chair Ward. The ground rules do indicate, and this is on page, let's see, page 3 of your packet, that, where is it? Oh, on page 3, meeting decorum A2, all attendees will adhere to Winona County's respectful workplace policy. So just clarifying again that your ground rules do incorporate the respectful workplace policy, whether or not for whatever purpose you're considered employees or not.
Okay, all right. So I intentionally wore my gray jacket today because I think this is a gray area and there's no clear cut.
Got my black jacket.
You got your black and right. It kind of sets the mood. I seeing nobody else. I read that first sentence, and in light of what's happened within the last couple months here, even in Winona County, it says it is the policy of Winona County to maintain a respectful workplace and public service environment free from violence, discrimination, harassment, and other offensive or degrading remarks or conduct. So unfortunately, I'm referring to the Chris Rogers article and the things that came to light that, again, personally, I feel have just totally destroyed public trust in our organization. Of the collusion, and I look these big words up on on the internet to really know what I'm trying to talk about: collusion, malfeasance, open meeting law, serial meeting law. I just to me that is conduct that had taken place. Now a private investigation, I think, is still warranted from probably the Attorney General's office as to what happened there. And I cannot, it just makes me sick. I cannot tolerate that kind of actions within my own board, because we are a board. So I am an individual, and we just ask that we all reaffirm our respectful workplace policy as individuals. But as a board, what happened prior, and I'm sorry, we kind of had this gut feeling this was happening for a long time. And it just finally, somebody put the pieces together with the land stewardship project and manipulating county board members, knowingly or unknowingly doing what they did and how it was done. I find it makes me sick. And I don't know, and Commissioner Meyer, you're bringing this up, and yeah, we're supposed to, it's just like on the national scene. Now I'm supposed to know the words to Kumbaya and embrace everything and everything's going to be good and great going forward. But I've lost a lot of trust in my own board members with the actions, and that says conduct to me, and that's the conduct. So I don't know where we go from here. And I will be asking, and I know we still got quote pending litigation. Yeah, we got pending litigation, so it kind of stifles the discussion. But believe me, I do want to make some very clear, decisions of how the county board functions going into the future. And so at some point in time, we do need to address what happened and how it happened and how we commit to not letting it happen again in all our work. Commissioner Jacob?
Well, and then the following sentence, Winona County will not tolerate such behavior. So my question would be for the county attorney. With what Commissioner Ward has just described, what happens?
Well, I would recommend at this point, because the judge has not made his final ruling
Right.
in the Daly case, parties did submit briefs to the judge about what should be done as a result of what happened. So I'm anticipating that the judge is going to have quite a bit of discussion in that order, and that could be used as good guidance for the board to look at the past and look toward the future, and decide how you want to address that. But again, I would caution you to not talk anymore about what had transpired that resulted in that litigation, and wait until that decision. And I believe usually they have 90 days to make a decision. Whether he'll take that long or not, I don't know. But no.
Didn't he remand it?
That's the decision that the judge is making, whether to remand or what the Daly Farm is asking is that they grant the variance. So we'll see what happens, but that's why it's very important not to be talking about that litigation. And I'm being very cautious.
Yes.
Don't even talk about it in a kind of more general.
Right. And I bring it up because members of the public are asking what's going on, and they have a right to know as well. So yes, we're waiting for the judge to issue his final determination, and then we'll take some guidance from that. But I want to assure that the public that this is not going to be just not reviewed and looked at and a determination being made. And I think we owe that to the public, because again, my concern is that we have lost a lot of public trust in what we do and how we do it. And that's not right in my own opinion.
Madam Chair.
As to this respectful, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Madam
Who's got
Chair?
their, Commissioner Meyer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I specifically selected item 4 under our behavioral ground rules.
What, I'm sorry, what page can you tell me what page that's on, the number 4? I see a lot of number 3.
So this incorporates the respectful workplace policy. It doesn't appear in our packet. It appears on the HR website.
Oh, okay.
And it has 12 behavioral ground rules. And the 4th one has to do with clarifying for understanding without accusations. And I guess that's what I'm asking, is for you to not make accusations without the information or the opportunity to have a complete discussion. Thanks.
And
Madam
that's what I'm
Chair.
telling the public, that at some point in time, we will, basically, we're waiting for a judge's decision. Commissioner Kavesi.
Yeah, regarding the litigation that is stifling our discussion, it does seem to be only stifling it on one side. And that is obviously not fair. So if we're all quiet, then we're all quiet. Thank you.
Oh, but I have
Well, Commissioner Kavesi,
Commissioner Jacob.
Chris Meyer is the one who put this on the agenda, not me or Commissioner Ward.
I didn't say anything, so I'm just saying we all need to be respectful, and that's what I advocated in my opening remarks. So
Yes. And I stand by my stance on the legal system. A judge is just a lawyer in a different robe, and we'll wait for the decision, and then we'll determine what we can do or can't do or should do or are willing to do. And so we'll leave it at that for today. Yes, Commissioner Jacob.
You know, I haven't made any accusations
No.
against anybody. I think the public can read the public documents that have been made available, and they say what they say, and I can stand tall and stand proud. I haven't done anything I'm ashamed of, so feel good about it.
Good. All right. Okay, stay tuned. It's not over yet. Okay.
And I guess Madam Chair, it still stands out there. Will
Yes.
the rest of you commit to the ground rules and the respectful workplace policy and agree with me that these rules apply not just in this meeting, but in all meetings where we're representing the county, as I will right now?
Is that a motion, or
Yeah,
are you looking for a second?
Yes, again, are you just asking us to verbally commit?
Yep.
Okay. And
I haven't done anything I'm ashamed of. I'll continue to do the right thing.
do you want a verbal commitment from each individual?
Only if you choose. Only if you choose to. I'll commit to that.
The
though.
board?
Yeah.
Commissioner Olson, do you have your hand up?
Oh, no, Olson, aye. How's that?
Olson, aye.
Yeah, Commissioner Kavesi, aye.
The motion has no second.
No, and
It's,
it-
I'm committing, that's all I'm
Yeah,
committing.
it's not a motion, it's just a verbal commitment.
And I'm agreeing to commit.
Okay, so we have a verbal commitment from some of the board, I think.
No, I said I'll do the right thing.
Okay.
I'm not
Well,
ashamed of
yeah,
anything I've done.
and personally, we are very strong individuals. We have strong opinions, and yeah, I mean, my parents taught me to be respectful and not do, the wrong things, knowingly doing the wrong things. So yeah, I feel I try to commit to a respectful workplace. So, all right, does that take care of that? I think it does. We'll leave it at that. All right. We had Commissioner Meyer. We're going to committee reports and communications. Commissioner Meyer.
Yep, I got 3 things.
Okay.
The Workforce Development Board, the contract currently DEED, which is the Department of Employment and Economic Development at the state level, they're our vendor for the workforce center. I think that's
Yes.
not the right name. They have a different name for it. But at any rate, their contract is up, and there's a process of ongoing currently to select a new vendor. And I'll just point out that neither Commissioner Olson or I are voting members of that board, so we will not get to choose, but that is a conversation that's happening. The Great River Rail Commission met earlier last week, and I think we'll be having a Railroad Commission meeting after this meeting. So I will just save my comments about that for that meeting. And then SEMCAC met last night, and we have a new director. His name is Doug Grout, and he also now sits on the Workforce Development Board. And he's been doing a fabulous job. There have been some staff changes, and he's also done a great job of getting new and additional grants, especially with all the CARES Act money that's been available. And so I am really pleased with the work that SEMCAC is doing and the expansions that they've made in the last year since this new director took over. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. And you had one future board action.
Yes, you want that now?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I was contacted by the chamber, and I spent some time talking with Christy Ransom yesterday. She asked me or us as a board to explore using the sales tax or a sales tax to potentially fund the jail. And she pointed out that this is something that Carleton County is doing right now on their jail project. So in case you want to Google it and read a little bit about what they're doing and just some of the basics of the process that they've had to go through. So what I'm interested in is just having a preliminary discussion. I think there are some hurdles that would have to be overcome. And I think that we would, we wouldn't be able to achieve that source of funding and probably till 2022 or later. And I don't know if the overall impact is going to be good or bad. But really my request is just if the board wants to pursue exploring and having additional fact finding about how that might work if we wanted to think about it as an option instead of using levy money to fund the jail.
I would support that on a future agenda.
Okay, all right, so staff will look into, or put it on our agenda for
Yeah.
more discussion.
Yeah, to see if at least 3 commissioners are interested in.
Okay, and that was Olson, Meyer and Olson. All right, thank you.
That is it. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Commissioner Kavesi?
Yeah, I have quite a few, so I'll be really as brief as possible. Parks and Environment met last Tuesday. I appreciate the approval from the board earlier in our meeting for the fencing grant that will help control the deer in the gardening area. They are focusing this year on park plans. They're looking at what are the doable parts, for instance, invasive control. There's also, there was also discussion of a focus on Stone Point Park. They elected Mark Engen as chair and Dale Hadler as vice chair. And even though this meeting was in the afternoon after they had just been reappointed that morning and new appointed, 2 of the 3 newly appointed members were able to attend. So I think that shows a real dedication to the work of this committee. I have a homeless shelter update. The Shelter Homeless and Homeless Opportunity Coordinating Committee worked with the city and with Catholic Charities to provide full-day shelter opportunities. They covered the morning shift at Lake Lodge for 54 days, 7 days a week. 26 community volunteers, 8 Winona State students, serving many times to cover those sessions. They provided not only shelter, but connectivity and relationships. So thanks to the city, to Catholic Charities, and to the SHOP group for keeping up this daytime shelter opportunity. From now on, the opportunity for daytime goes completely to the warming shelter with Catholic Charities. Hiawatha Valley Mental Health is having an in-service or discussion tomorrow at 12 noon on resiliency in the middle. So this is a continuing discussion for mental health for our community. You can go to the website and find out. The SHAC group announced that Chelsea Huntley is now the Community Health Board Director in the Department of Health. She's replacing Deb Burns, who's retiring. So that's important to know. The Primary Prevention Project group met yesterday, and they were focusing mostly on the activities that they could be providing for this year. They're a very good group for that. Stockton, Rolling Stone, Minnesota City Watershed met last night. And they really had kind of an organizational meeting. They elected Michelle as the chair and Bill Haxon as the vice chair, I believe, and also the treasurer. So that they had a very short meeting last night. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just a real quick update on my end. We did have an MCIT board meeting, and the trends are not good for seeking insurance and reinsurance at reasonable rates. the insurance industry, of course, in my opinion, has never wanted risk. They manage risk, but you pay for that. And so we really need to be cognizant. One of the things that really drives claims at that level is jails. And so when we get to that level of looking at all the policies and procedures and things like that, MCIT can be a part of going through some of that stuff to eliminate as much risk as they possibly can, because those claims are growing and they're very, very expensive. The other thing too is they're trying to figure out how all the COVID related things may come into insurance and everything. And you know, the world's different than it was 9-10 months ago, and how that'll affect AMC being able to get coverage, the coverages that they need to protect our county workers. And then I heard very quickly, and I'll ask maybe Commissioner Meyer, AMC is having some kind of sub-policy committee in regards to jails. Are you familiar with any subgroup gathering information?
Nope, I am not.
Okay, I will follow up on that. It was Commissioner Jack Swanson from Roseau County. He said that their AMC is doing something about gathering information about our jail populations and things like that since the COVID situation. So I will follow up with him. I thought maybe Commissioner Meyer might know something about that. I'll follow
No, their last big meeting, there was a presentation on counties that are doing stuff that maybe is similar to what the city of Winona is proposing with the additional social workers and intervention pre-police, but not any information about jail stuff.
Okay, I will follow up with Commissioner Swanson what that is about.
Yep, that'd be great.
Some group. Okay, all right. Is there any other business to be brought forward to the Winona County Board? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Jacob to adjourn. Any discussion? We've had great discussion today. I appreciate it. Thank you. So all those in favor of adjourning this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay, we are adjourned. Now we will move into the Winona County Regional Railroad Authority meeting. And is Dave Kramer, I see them. I think you.
I think that I call this meeting to order, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I think I'm the Madam Chair now.
Okay,
so,
all right. I know Dave coordinates things, yes.
Yep,
Thank
I'm
you.
calling to order the Winona County Regional Railroad Authority meeting. This is our regular annual meeting. And our first order of business is going to be to elect new officers. So we need to elect a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary treasurer. I'm the current chair. Commissioner Kavesi is currently the vice chair. And you, Commissioner Ward, are the secretary treasurer. And this is for a 1-year term.
I will nominate, are you Commissioner Meyer or Chris Meyer with this? I'll nominate Commissioner Meyer as chair.
I second that.
Although I will say that currently Commissioner Kavesi is our representative to the Great River Rail Commission. So, and she was the vice chair last year. So I was sort of thinking it might be great if she was the chair.
We could also switch representation to the Great River Rail, but we didn't earlier. So,
okay.
yes.
Well,
all right,
I'll run for it if it gives me the authority to schedule the train. So I had to sit and wait for one this morning on my way into the meeting. I don't know it gives me that authority.
I don't think it does.
No. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
I get citizen phone calls about the slow trains, so there you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, well, we
Any
had a
other-
motion and a second for Commissioner.
Yeah, are there any
Meyer.
other nominations? Do I have to ask 3 times? Are there any other nominations? And for the third and final time, are there any other nominations? And if not, I'll close the nominations and ask Commissioner Ward to rack the gavel.
All right, closed.
Okay, all right, so so should we go ahead and vote? And let's vote by roll call. So Commissioner Kavesi?
Commissioner Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob. Commissioner Jacob.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I didn't hear you. Commissioner Ward.
Aye.
Okay, so nominations, thank you. All right, so the nominations are open for the vice chair. Current chair, vice chair is Commissioner Kavesi.
I would move to nominate Commissioner Kavesi as vice chair.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? If not, let's vote. Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Mr. Olson,
Olson, aye.
Mr. Jacob,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Kavesi is the chair. Currently, Commissioner Ward is the secretary treasurer. And so we need to elect a new or re-elect Commissioner Ward. So are there any nominations for the secretary treasurer?
I'll nominate Commissioner Ward.
Second, that's Commissioner Kavesi.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? If not, we'll vote. Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
Commissioner Ward.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Ward is our secretary treasurer. So next we need to approve the agenda as it exists or modify it as per requests. I guess, yeah, I don't have any okay, do any commissioners have any changes to request to the agenda? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as it stands.
So move, Commissioner Kavesi.
And a second.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Anyone opposed? Okay. Next order of business. So the agenda is approved. Next order of business is to approve the minutes from our meeting a year ago.
So moved.
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Our next order of business is to appoint the 2021 member and alternate to the Joint Powers Board of the Great River Rail Commission. The Winona County Regional Railroad Authority is a party to the Great River Rail Commission Joint Powers Agreement, needs to appoint a member and an alternate to serve for one-year terms beginning January 15th. They must be members and they must be current county commissioners. So our agenda indicates that I was the member and Commissioner Kavesi was the alternate, but I think it's exactly the opposite of that. And their share of the budget is $2,340, and that is a very tiny percent. Oh, that's where it's included in our county budget. Okay, so I guess I would be asking for a motion to appoint a chair, a representative and alternate.
I would move that unlike our 2021 committee appointments that we just passed to reflect the meeting minutes and say Commissioner Meyer as the member and Commissioner Kavesi as the alternate.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? I will say that last year, my husband, who was a city council at that time, was also on the board, and he is no longer on that board. So I would feel a little more comfortable about being the primary representative. Any other?
You wouldn't have a conflict of interest at the dining table.
I don't think so. I don't think we
Okay.
did anyway, but okay. So
Okay.
any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? If not, vote or discussion or vote. Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
Commissioner Ward.
Aye.
Okay, that is how it will be.
And then Commissioner Meyer, I would just ask staff to correct our master sheet then.
Thank you. That is noted, and note that to staff. Thanks. Okay, so the next thing would be updates or communications. I have one, but I would open this up to anyone else who might have something they want to share about the commission at this time.
Oh, Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
do we know the share of the budget that we will be asked to contribute? This was 2020, it was 2,340. Has that been determined yet? Of course, maybe there hasn't been a meeting.
Perhaps our highway engineer or Pat Moga could tell us, or our finance director.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I was just thinking while we're waiting, at previous meetings, the discussion focused on keeping it the same allocation.
Sure. I see
But
that.
I don't know that that has been a vote or an official ruling, but that was the discussion.
Okay.
Mr. Kramer is in attendance, and he's raising his hand, so perhaps he could share with us.
Yeah, if I could just chime in, just looking at the historical, it's been very consistent from year to year. So I think it's reasonable to expect it will be close to the same.
Thank you.
That's a satisfactory answer, Commissioner Ward?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay, so does anyone have any other comments or updates? If not, I will just share with you that I attended the meeting last week. They re-elected their officers. There was a lot of discussion about, they renamed themselves because they're not about high-speed rail. They're about trying to get a second train, and they've been focused on passenger rail. And there's a lot of discussion about potentially making track improvements in order to improve freight, and lobbying the legislature and there are some specific benefits that the city of Winona would have if they were able to move forward and get legislative approval for some of the things that they're asking for. So, but they're going to continue to lobby for those items. They did not happen in last year's session and their bonding bill. So that would be all I have. If there's nothing else, I think we would be in a position to adjourn.
Yep.
So moved.
Okay, so is that a second, Commissioner Ward?
Sure.
Okay, so moved by Commissioner Olson, second by Commissioner Ward. We to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we're done then.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all.